I'm Megan. Thanks for being here with me. Whether you're new or not, please be sure to subscribe. It's really important to keep the content coming, and thank you to my Patreons. Today's practice is simple somatic yoga for our hips. And there's lots of different ways we can move the hips. This one is going to focus on what we call internal and external rotation. So come from a seated position, take your hands behind you for a moment. Take your knees just out slightly wider than your hips. And we think of this sometimes as windshield wipers, but let your knees fall to one side and then come back up and let your knees fall to the other side. So this is a nice easy warm up first of all. And if you're doing this to your breath, you might come up on the inhale and let them drop with gravity on the exhale. So recognizing what's happening here is whichever leg is on the top, that leg is in internal rotation and the bottom leg or hip is in external rotation. So you've already done your first move. This easy warm up. So now from the somatic viewpoint, see if you can do the same movement from your feet. So you're going to tip onto the pinky toe side of one foot and the big toe side of the other foot. Can you initiate the movement from your feet? And see if that feels different for your hips. If you're doing it to your breath, you can exhale, let them drop with gravity. Inhale, lift back up. So after you've done a few with your feet, go back to moving, think of moving from your hip crease itself or maybe your thighs. How does that feel to do this internal external rotation from the thighs? Can you sense a difference? Because your brain body absolutely knows the difference. And we'll pause. We're going to continue to explore, but we're going to come on to our front side. So once you're on your front side, take a moment to settle into your upper body. You can use your hands as a pillow, finding a comfortable position for your body, letting the front body receive the floor. That's the landing, feeling whatever's touching you and supporting you. Then simply bend your knees and place your heels about over the backs of the kneecaps. And then as you breathe out, let both legs fall to the right. So notice this position. It's the same thing we just did seated. So what's happening here is the foot that's closer to the ground to the outside of the hip, that leg or the hip is in internal rotation. And the leg that has the foot in between the thighs is in external rotation. So it's that same thing we just did. We've just flipped it over the other direction. And just do a couple of these side to side. Inhaling up, exhaling, letting them fall with gravity. So this is more just familiarizing this feeling of space. Think of your femur bone coming right into the hips. So we do the image of anatomy. If you can picture it, it's going to help you to stay present in it. And then we're going to pause again. So let the right leg go down. Keep just the left knee bent. And now we'll make it a little more purposeful, so we want to engage the muscles. So the effort is on the inhalation. Now, as you inhale, take the pinky toe side of the left foot towards the floor. Exhale, come back up. Inhale, take the big toe side of the foot towards the floor. Exhale, come back up. So do a few here with the thighs still on the ground. And then if you want to add a little bit more spice to it, lift the thighs slightly off the ground and internal rotation, letting the foot fall to the outside of the hip as you breathe in. Exhale, come back, let it relax on the ground. Lift it up. Inhale, let the foot fall towards the right knee. Exhale, let it relax. So we're inhaling, lifting, dropping one way. Exhale to center, release. Inhale, lift, drop the other way. Exhale, center, release. And notice the muscles through the back of your thigh, your buttocks, your outer hip, inner thigh. What's helping you to make this movement in the left leg? And you can just lift it a tiny bit. Or maybe what you want to do, and this is always good to do at the end, is lift it up. Let the foot fall to the outside of the left hip. Hold there for a few breaths. Leg is lifted. So noticing all the muscles that are sustaining this thigh off the ground in your internal rotation. And then slowly release it. Take a few breaths to let it come all the way down and relax. And then we'll go the other way. Lift the leg up. Inhale, let the left foot fall towards the right knee. Hold it there for a few breaths. Thighs slightly lifted. Just familiarize the muscles that are holding this space. Do they feel contracted and strong? Do they feel long and strong? And then slowly come back to the center. Take a few breaths and release completely. Take it down. Shake out your left leg. And we'll do the same thing with the right leg. So start with the thigh on the ground. Try placing the heel over the back of the knee. And as you breathe in, let the right pinky toe side fall to the right side of your mat or the right side of your body. Exhale back to center. Inhale, big toe side towards the left knee or the left side of the body. Exhale back to center. So do a few just to feel the mobility portion of it, back and forth. See if you can feel right into your hip socket. And then adding that spiciness, you're going to lift up the thigh off the ground. Inhale, let the pinky toe side fall to the right hip. Hold it there. Exhale back to center. Let it come down. Release it. You might even let it come all the way down. So the release is really important when we're re-educating the muscles. Inhale, lift up. And drop it. Foot towards the left knee. You might notice you have a difference in the two sides. Exhale, come back to center. Release. And do a few like this. Moving. Right side. Inhaling. Exhale, release. Moving left side. Exhale, release. I tend to be able to release it pretty well just by letting the thigh come back down. So see what works for you. And also notice, are you keeping the left leg quiet now? Just the right leg working. Right hip. Stay present in those bony landmarks at the top of the thigh bone into the hip socket. And then taking that last one, might want to lift it up. Inhale, drop the right pinky toe to the right side. Hold for a few breaths. We'll really familiarize those muscles with internal rotation. What's firing? You might feel some tightness in the inner thigh. Exhale, take a few breaths. Exhale, exhale, exhale. Let it come all the way down. Release it, shake it out. And then we'll do it the other way. Inhale, lift the thigh up. Let the big toe side fall in. Sensing that internal rotation. So maybe now a little more action in the outer hip. But see what you feel. Take a few breaths. Breath out. Slowly, slowly, slowly release it. And shake it out. We're going to do one more of my very favorite movements for the hips on the sideline position. And this one again is more of an activation. We'll finish at the end with more of a stretch for the hips. But let's come into a sideline position, which means you can use a pillow under your head or your arm as a pillow. You want to bring your thighs so they're 90 degrees from your spine and your shin bones parallel to your spine or to the short edge of your mat. So finding that position, we're lying on our right side, so land on your right side. The first one we'll do is our external rotation. So feel where your big toe side of your feet are touching. As you breathe in, lift that top left knee off the bottom right knee. Breathe out and let it come down. It's a super simple movement. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, come down. Something I often play with in this one is where are you lifting from? So does it feel different to lift from the hip? You might even place your hand there. Or what happens if you push the big toe side of the feet together to lift up? So we create force, create movement, action by either pushing into something, the feet pushing together, or pulling away. What happens if you think of pulling the left knee away from the right knee? And then in the end, we just want to do this in a way that creates the greatest range of motion with the most pleasure. Let's take the last one, lift it up. Maybe hold it there for a few breaths. You might feel some extra chewiness in that outer left hip. I am. And then we'll be slow to release it. Exhale, release maybe 25%. And then the next 25%, all the way to 75, and then 100. Let it go. So that's your external. Let's go to the internal for that left hip. So now the inner knees are going to stay glued together. Center left pinky toe side of your foot, and as you breathe in, left pinky toe side of the foot lifts up. So left foot lifting away from the right. Exhale. Let it come back down. So the first one I like to think of as a clamshell. This one is our mermaid tail. So inhale, lift it up. And exhale, come down. And can you sense the way the thigh bone is slightly rolling inward, especially at that junction of the femur bone and the hip? And stay present just to feel that. Inhaling up and exhaling down. Last one, option to hold. So hold it up there for a few breaths. Feel that internal rotation. Keep the right leg relaxed. Take a few breaths. And then maybe 4 breaths to release. Exhale, release just a little bit. Exhale a little bit more. A little more. So you're in full control of your muscular engagement and the release. This time after it comes all the way down, we'll just do a nice easy hip circle. Imagine you have a handle on your left hip and make some circles. It's a nice way to kind of wash away any residue in there, any lingering sensations. You can go both directions. And then we're going to switch sides. So please, you can just flip over if you'd like, but come on to your left side. And we'll explore the right side in the clamshell and the mermaid tail. Milo doesn't seem to mind a bit that I'm right next to him now. So line up the legs again so that the thighs are 90 degrees from the spine and the shins are parallel to the spine. So bring those shins forward. First, just feel yourself land. Land on that left side. Feel the support of the ground. And then we locate ourselves through, I like to locate through the big toe side of the feet, maybe the inner knees, even the outer right hip, working with the right hip now. And when you're ready, as you breathe in, lift the right knee off the left. Breathe out and slowly release it down. So do a few in motion, 1 breath per movement if it's comfortable, but going nice and slow. Just to see, it's kind of a nice easy way to check what is your range of motion. And also to find what the most comfortable way to move is. So we have several different options. We, again, can push the big toe side of the feet together to lift that leg. So pushing into gravity, we could lift the inner right knee. We could lift the outer right hip. They're all good, they're all plausible. It's you finding the one that feels best for you. And that's the freedom to make the same movement in several different ways. And then once you find the way that you're making the movement most pleasantly, take that final one and hold it for a few breaths. Maybe you're slightly pushing the big toe side of the feet together. Maybe you're thinking of lifting the inner knee. Take a few breaths there. See if you can keep that bottom left leg completely relaxed. Get that little sensation in the outer right hip going. Smile at it. Say thank you. And then we'll slowly release. Exhale, coming down just a little bit, maybe 1/3 of the way. Exhale again, 1/3 of the way, 1/4 of the way, as slow as you want. And the last one, exhaling and letting it come all the way down. That's your external rotation from this position. Let's move on to the mermaid tail, the internal rotation. So sense where your knees are touching, and on a breath in, lift the top right foot. And as you breathe out, slowly come down. That's important too. The inhalation is rolling the thigh in and timing it so that the exhalation is a slow release. We're not letting it just crash with gravity. You're in control. And feel the way there's just that slight spin of the right thigh bone inward towards the left thigh. Doesn't matter how far you go, but you are exploring what is your end range of motion comfortably. And how are you moving? Are you pushing the knees together? Are you thinking of lifting the pinky toe side of the foot, the big toe side? Maybe even thinking of rolling the thigh bone itself in. So your brain sees all of those as potential ways to create the same movement. And then you can take that last one into the position that works for you. Hold it, study it in your mind's eye, stay present in any sensation. Breathe. And then release. Maybe a third or a quarter at a time. Release part ways. Breathe out. A little bit more. And a little bit more. And let it come all the way down. Take a nice big sigh like Milo just did. And then see if you want to do some of those hip circles around. Like you're washing your hip. Releasing any residual sensation or if it feels tired. Just like you used it. Now we're going to finish by rolling onto our back and we'll do more of a true stretch. So a release, let's say. So we're going to place our feet on the ground in what we call constructive rest position. We'll start with the left leg. So take the left leg and cross the left ankle on the right thigh. Take your arms out to your sides. We're going to just do a little movement here first. So we'll let gravity help us because we're stretching. So feel your right foot, and as you exhale, tip onto the big toe side of the right foot and let the legs fall to the left. As you breathe in, come back up. As you breathe out, pinky toe side, just fall. Let gravity take your legs to the right. And just going side to side. You might notice that now, in addition to the hips, you're going to feel more of a stretch into your waist because everything's connected. And just enjoy this ride. Similar to the seated windshield wipers we did before, but think of your right leg doing all the work for you, and your left hip and thigh are just taking a ride. If you want to stop anywhere and hold the stretch, you're welcome to. I'm going to stop with both legs to the right, take my left arm overhead, just an opportunity to stretch out through that left side a little bit. So through the side and all the way into the left hip. And sensing how the thigh is coming across you more in a pattern of internal rotation. And then we can go the other way. I'll fall onto the big toe side. Sense the external rotation of the left leg. That stretch through your right hip. Just a few breaths there. And release and relax. Come back up. And we have another one to explore with the legs still in this position. Take your right foot, feel your right foot, and lift it off the ground. So once again, your right leg or thigh is the vehicle for the left leg. So left leg stays relaxed. And see if you can just make some circles with the right thigh. And notice how you're getting a nice stretch through the hip or in that external rotation. Might add, this is also, all these are what we call abduction. So your thigh is rolling outward and it's also going away from the body. Good mostly to know these terms just so that you can start to put the term with what does it feel like in your body? Or is that a place that's tight that you need to explore a little bit more? So just making these circles. And then within the circle, if there's a place where you want to stop, we often call this thread the needle, reclining pigeon. See it a lot in yoga, but you could stop, foot could stay on the floor and just work your left leg away from you. You could take your hands to the back of the right thigh, the right shin. You do you for 5 breaths. Recognizing this external rotation and abduction, and where are you feeling that passive stretch in the left leg? Can you acknowledge it, breathe into it? Let the energy flow into that space. Finish that 5th breath, let it come down. And we'll do one more here. Now we're going to cross the back of the left thigh on the front of the right thigh. So a little bit more of the internal rotation and adduction towards the midline of the body. We take the leg across. And once again, just making circles. This is actually my preferred position, but you may find you feel better this way or this way. And the preferences often have to do with trying to avoid our tightness. Make those circles, giving the left leg a ride on the right leg. Get a nice stretch in the buttocks and the low back on this one. So a couple of ways to find the hold, depending on where you're going with the legs. You could, of course, just hug them into the body. And that's a nice stretch for that left hip. I like to take it a little bit deeper into my waist. So I take the legs over to the right side, landing on the left big toe side of my leg into a true rotation. Take 5 breaths in whatever position you're choosing. You can use your right hand as a feeler. Feel that stretch through your left hip. Sense the inner thighs touching. Just noticing your breath. Calm and relaxed. A true passive stretch, not doing but just receiving the support of the floor for one more round of breath. Tinkerbell your toes back to the center, uncross the legs. Let's take a full body yawn in between, lengthen both legs. Inhale, reach, arch your back, tighten all the muscles to the bones, the arms, the legs. Breathe out. Let everything land and relax. Just take a moment to notice any difference in your 2 legs. Can you feel the results of stretching that left hip? And then we'll switch sides. So placing both feet on the ground, cross the right ankle on the left thigh. Take your arms out at your sides like a T. Let your right leg be on holiday now and feel your left foot, big toe, little toe side. And as you breathe out, so we're doing this passively, let the right big toe side or left big toe side fall to the ground to the right. Breathe in and come back to center. Breathe out, gravity takes your feet to the left, falling onto the pinky toe side of the left foot. And just going side to side. I like to let my head gently flow in the opposite direction of the legs. It doesn't have to, but it's just an acknowledgement the upper body is relaxed and released. Play with moving from the foot, so big toe, little toe side. You can engage the muscles in the left thigh to make this movement. Where are you initiating? Where is it starting from? As the right leg just gets a nice ride. And if you want to stop in either or both positions, stopping with legs to the left, you could slide your right arm overhead. Feel all the way through that right line from the hip through your waist, your ribs. Bring your breath into your right lung. Receiving the support that's underneath you. Coming back to center. A hold to the other side. You can tip onto the big toe side of the left foot. Let the legs fall to the right. Maybe sliding your left arm overhead just to increase the stretch through that left waistline. Feeling connection of hip to your side body. Breathing into the left side body. Feeling supported. And notice anywhere you are resisting. Coming back up. The next carnival ride for that right leg. No, it's not a carnival ride. It's a soothing ride, but lift your left foot off the ground and go in circles. Just explore, right? You can go side to side more, up and down. Your left leg is working and active, and you might be sensing that stretch through your right hip, the back of the right hip. You can also notice things from a state of compression. So can you feel the compression in the front of the right hip crease? Sometimes we are so familiar with that because we sit so much that we forget to feel it. So when do you feel compression in that hip crease? And then finding a place to stop and hold this one. You could just keep your left foot on the ground. Maybe you want to take your right hand to your right thigh and press it away a little bit. That's one way to make more space in the hip crease. Or you can lift left foot up. Hands could go to the back of the left thigh, to the shin. So what you want to watch for is whatever you're holding with your hands, that you're not having to lift your shoulders off the ground and your head. So in that case, just keep the foot on the floor. So shoulders relaxed, head and neck relaxed and supported. Your 5 breaths just to embody any sensations you're feeling, particularly in your right hip. Think of this positionally. Your external rotation and abduction. What does it feel like to stretch those muscles? Let the left foot come back down, and we'll switch it just slightly. Take the back of the right thigh across the front of the left thigh, kind of lock them in there, and then you can again lift the legs up and make some circles. Just start with that. Feel how the right knee is drawing more towards the left shoulder. That's that internal rotation and AD adduction. Never understood why they had to call it AB and adduction, just to confuse us probably, just so we have to spell it out. Doesn't matter, just notice what it feels like. You can go both directions with the circles. So soothing stretch. Left leg active, right leg just enjoying the ride. And to stop, you could just hug your knees in. Pause there, maybe even just the right knee. Or if you want to go into more of a rotation, take your right arm out to your side. Drop the knees to the left. You can guide them with your left hand. And the right foot comes down onto the floor to help support you. If it feels good, be present in the space that's resistant. Your breath can help to remove resistance, and so can what you say to yourself. So, does it feel safe? Is it a good stretch? Last round of breath. Coming back to the center. Allow both legs to go long. Full body stretch. Reach through your legs, your arms. Hug the muscles to the bones. One more time. Draw the kneecaps up your thighs. Tighten everything as much as you can, particularly in the legs. Imagine plugging your thigh bones into your hips. Squeeze your buttocks. One more breath in. And as you breathe out, release all of that. Gently shake your legs out. Shift your heels from side to side. And we'll just take a moment to land again. Now on our backside. Feel the support of the floor. And locate yourself wherever you feel sensation. I call this the energy game. Go into the places in your body that are presenting themselves to you. It could be the hips, it could be somewhere else. Take 8 rounds of breath. Just knowing that you are the only one that can access this level of sensation and understanding in your body. Begin to move your toes and your fingers. If you have it in you, say something nice to your hips. Bend your knees, place your feet on the floor. Just do a really gentle reclining windshield wiper, letting your knees fall to one side and then the other. You can inhale up, exhale, let them fall. So we're finishing where we started, just a reclining windshield wipers. And have you gained knowledge about what your muscles do for you, how your body moves. And you can stop and roll to one side or the other, as Milo does. Right on cue, Milo, nice job. Thank you for joining me for the simple somatic yoga practice for your hips. Appreciate you, and I really hope that these are movements that are practical for you and help you to enjoy your day, your week, and be kind to others. Peace, joy, love, and light.